Hey guys, welcome to the analysis for this Friday. I'm going to cover a few of the weekly charts. Today obviously was a big day for Forex overall because of all the big news that came out. So we're going to get into that. I'm going to look at what I'm kind of expecting over the next week, and we're going to hopefully get a great idea of how to plan our next week of trading through today's analysis. Before we jump into that, let's look at our terms real quickly. There they are. And basically the terms just say that we're not licensed or qualified to provide investment advice. This is purely for education and just us sharing our personal opinions on Forex, not something that you should be risking your money over. Okay? Okay, so as I said, we have some weekly charts here that we're going to look at because today's Friday. And the first thing I want to look at, of course, is the euro dollar. And if you guys remember, we've been talking about how the euro dollar definitely has bullish potential over the past few weeks. One level that we were watching was this level here because it provided a serious amount of resistance for the upward momentum of the euro dollar. As you can see today, with the help of the non-farms and some other news, the euro busted right through this level. And if you were watching it, some of you might have taken along there and already have been up a significant amount of pips because of today's movement. Now, the question, of course, is next, where will it be going? I'm personally believing that it's going to come back up and test this key level up here, which had broken, several months ago on the way down. I think that's a major level, and I think that the euro dollar is going to be heading back up there. Now, the question I have, and I don't really know the answer to, is whether it's going to come down, retest, and go up, or if we're simply going to see a straight up movement with no retest down here. That, of course, I do not know, but I am feeling very bullish on the euro. Obviously, this candle gives me a lot of confidence in terms of where I think the euro is headed. So I think there's a great long potential there, and I do think that this level is going to be a magnet for the euro dollar. No doubt about that in my mind. Similarly, we have the pound dollar, and the pound dollar, of course, also has a ton of bullish momentum. You can see that the curve here is really straight up over the past 3 weeks. These 3 bars here really showing a lot of pound bullish momentum. Now, as far as the pound's concerned, there's a few levels. Number one is this one here, and I think that that'll be a pretty big level for the pound, and then also this one. So we do have a good amount of pips before we get there. This right here is a decent amount of pips even to get to that first level. It's about 115, and then about 260 to our next level. So obviously still a lot of room for the pound to move before we get to our resistance, but you do want to keep an eye out for both these levels if you're long on the pound dollar. One thing to be careful about for the pound dollar and the euro both, as it is so far up, you got to be careful for a pullback to shake people out before it makes its next move. That's definitely a possibility, and the market will often do that to make sure that there's not too many people heading in the right direction with a currency pair. Of course, that's not how the market typically works, is to let people just jump on the bandwagon and then continue up that easily. So that's something that we need to be careful about and to certainly respect about the market. Now, also we have the odd dollar, which is a very different circumstance than the pound and the euro, because the odd has actually been breaking down to the downside over the past few weeks recently, and then actually even longer term we're headed down on the odd dollar. So the bullish news for the odd dollar, and actually just more bearish news for the dollar than anything, is somewhat different than the pound and the euro. With that said, I actually think this is a great signal for odd dollar long because oops, that's supposed to be a Fibonacci level, excuse me. Because we're at some key levels, not only in just some areas of support and resistance, but we're also right on. We stuck a tail. Let me move this down. We stuck a tail right through the 38.2 fib level, and then bounced right up off of that. So to me, that is screaming bullish continuation. I think that there's a high probability we can come back and test our level, our long-term level here. And I think that price is certainly going to make a run at that. Also notice that this tail corresponds perfectly with our last fake out tail that came down. So odd dollar to me looking like a great long. We could have a very long-term setup where it's going to be heading up. I think that's possible, but time will tell on that. Of course, for now, I think the shorter-term long potential for it to get up to here is in very high probability at this point. Of course, that's just my personal opinion, but I have high expectations for that. Okay, U.S. dollar weakness also, of course, affected the yen. So we can take a look at the yen. The yen was a pretty bullish week this week until today, where it crashed. And of course, that crashes us right back down into the middle of our channel. Just recently, yesterday, we were looking like we might break out of the top, and I was thinking that we were going to have a great long entry on the yen, then we could target these massive targets all the way up here, and we have our long-term trend and all of this. But we didn't see that, of course, because it broke right back down into our channel. So now the question is, are we going to continue to chop, or might we actually get a bottom breakout and look for a long-term trend in that direction? I think that's a very good possibility. So I'm going to be looking for that now. You know, the US yen I'm just not really going to trade until I see a convincing breakout in one direction or the other. But when it does happen, you certainly don't want to miss that, because you know, pairs that are like this, that bunch up, oftentimes have the best breakouts, and you don't want to miss one side or the other if it is going to break out. So just keep an eye on that, and we'll be taking advantage of that trade when it does occur. Alrighty, here another pair that we want to look at is the euro pound. I know that I've been looking at the euro pound for a potential breakout of this triangle. It's an ascending triangle, which means, of course, that it's moving up. So the anticipation for the breakout would be to the upside, and you can see that's exactly what we got today. A great signal. Hopefully some of you are playing this level and got long during the news today and made some money on that. If not, I personally think there's a lot more potential for this to continue up. Notice that you know, we're obviously in a momentum downtrend, but this is a strong move up, not because you know, this recent movement is so strong, but because it's a break of a key level. So to me, that's showing lots of potential for this thing to head up, and that's what I'm expecting with euro pound, to be honest, is a move at least up to our next level, which would be up here, possibly up to this level. So I think euro pound has a lot of bullish potential, and I'm probably going to be basing my trades off that bias to the bullish side over the next week for euro pound. Not to say that I won't take any intraday sells, but I'm liking bullish entries at this point in time, just based on this weekly chart that you see right in front of you. So that's what I'm looking at. I think there's going to be some great opportunities there to take it long, and hopefully we can hit a great risk-reward ratio sometime, you know, over the next week. Oops, switch back to my euro dollar there. I wasn't trying to do that, but oh well. Okay, pound New Zealand's the last pair I want to look at, and it's because I think that we have a great signal here in terms of a bearish tail. Now, this tail that we see right here is not just your average tail. I mean, that is a massive push tail that's begging for people to short it, basically. One thing we can check is our fib level and see if this pullback matches a fib level, and you can see here that it does. It's the 50 almost to the exact pip. So pretty incredible signal as far as I'm concerned. And what's really great is that it's not a pullback from the 50, and now we have the 38 right in our way. Nope. Hit off the 50 and is now all the way through the 38 as well. So to me, this is screaming retest of this major level, and I'm all over a short on the pound New Zealand, to be honest with you. So that's what I'm looking at today. Hopefully, you know, you're following some of the same things that I'm looking at, and you're going to get some great trade opportunities. Please feel free to leave a comment and let me know what you're thinking about. I'd love to get your input and your feedback on that. Alrighty, guys, have a great weekend. I'll be with you Monday, and can't wait to see how we trade this next week. Alright, guys, talk to you soon.